Let's begin with reviewing exactly what a power of 10 is. Here we have different examples. Remember, these numbers right here are referred to as exponents. 10 to the first power is simply just one group of 10. 10 to the second power is two groups of 10, or 10 times 10 is 100. If you notice, whatever the exponent is, that's how many zeros are in my final product. Here we have 5 and 32 hundredths times 10 to the second power. If you remember, 10 to the second power is the same thing as 100. When you multiply, your answers get larger. The product is larger than the factors. When you are multiplying with an exponent, this number tells you exactly how many places you can move the decimal point when you multiply. So here I have the number I'm starting with, 5 and 32 hundredths. I am moving my decimal point two places to represent 100. I am going to move my decimal point to the right because when I do this, 1, 2, and if I end my decimal point right here, my number went from a whole number of just 5 all the way to 532. Which is my final product. Here we have 264 divided by 10 to the third power. Remember, 10 to the third power is the same thing as 10 times 10 times 10, which is 1,000. 3 is my exponent, so I'm going to move my decimal point 3 places. When we divide, we're going to move our decimal point to the left because we want our answer to be smaller because division is making smaller equal groups. But if I look at this number, 264 is a whole number. Just remember that whole numbers can have a decimal at the end. Same value if I put that decimal point here. Now that I have that decimal point, I can look at my exponent and move it 1, 2, 3 places. So now I have decimal point 264. That is my quotient. I read this as 264 thousandths. Let's look at a couple more examples. Here's a little hint over here to move your decimal to the right when you multiply because that's going to make our number get larger. And we're going to move the decimal to the left when we divide because that's going to make our smaller equal groups. You can always use a place value chart if you need help with this. So let's look at the first one. I have 56 hundredths times 10 to the third power. This 3 is telling me how many times I'm going to move my decimal. I am multiplying, so I'm going to move to the right. So that's going to make 1, 2, 3 places before I have my decimal point. Notice how I have a blank space here, but I'm moving to the right, so it's not like I'm not going to have anything there. I need to fill that in with a 0 because when I move this decimal point all the way here, my new answer is 560. Remember, I could check my work if I wanted to practice and multiply 56 hundredths times 1,000 because 10 times 10 times 10 is 1,000. Here we have 23 divided by 10 to the second power. I'm going to move my decimal point two places. I'm dividing, so I'm going to move to the left. Now, this is a whole number, so you have to remember that the decimal point is at the end. Now we can move our decimal point. 1, 2, now it's right here. So my final answer is 0.23, which is the same thing as 23 hundredths. And if I wanted to, I could even put a 0 at the beginning, and that just tells me I do not have a whole number. And that's it.